It's now 650 over the last decade and a half. The number of Americans using debit cards has spiked from 8 billion to more than 47 billion. But this morning, a former con man and now noted security expert is warning that they're not safe. Let's head over to Pete Zervakis now, who has more on what the Better Business Bureau is saying about all of this. Hey, Pete.
Well, Susan, if you remember the name Frank Abagnale, he's the con man who inspired the hit movie Catch Me If You Can. He's now a security consultant and says don't use a debit card.
In an op-ed published on CNBC.com, Abagnale calls the debit card the worst financial tool ever given to the American consumer. Unlike a credit card, it's linked to your checking or savings account. So he says every time you use one, you put your money and your bank account at risk. He writes a hack of his debit card would mean I could lose the money in my bank account and have a difficult and lengthy time recovering it.
Credit cards do offer the most protection.
The Better Business Bureau acknowledges there are more security concerns with a debit card because it's linked to your account, but says rather than ditch a debit card altogether, you should use one more carefully and always monitor what's being withdrawn.
Let the bank know immediately, even if it's a small charge, because scammers will start that way. They'll start with a small charge, hope that you don't notice it. Generally, if you report it right away, it's our understanding that people really won't have a problem.
She says another way to minimize your risk, don't use a debit card when shopping over the internet, because that's when you're most susceptible to a hack.
You have more of a chance of running into a problem if you're purchasing online, especially if it's a company out of state. So, definitely use a credit card when purchasing online, always.
But we're not trying to scare you, because the BBB says one positive to a debit card over a credit card is that as you swipe it, you don't incur any debt or a line of credit. It simply takes the money out of your bank account. Susan?